What is going on, everyone? Good afternoon, and welcome to a special Thursday, February 29th edition of Established to Run's NBA DFS Injury Analysis Show. That's right, it is a leap day, February 29th, and the first ever content for ETR NBA on a leap day since 4 years ago. 2020 was just a few weeks before the pandemic hit, and this ETR NBA launched for the bubble in 2020. So this is our first leap day. Happy to be joined here by Mike Gallagher. How you doing today, Mike?
Doing good. Yeah, got me feeling nostalgic here. Remember the old days when it was just me, Wiggins, and Dink, and then luckily I had you and Gary hop in there for the full season. Shout out to Gary. Gary Farewell Tour, going to be dearly missed. Tough scene, but we move on here. Excited to talk about this 8-game slate, and yeah, big slate. A lot of basketball next couple of days. Had a great, fun slate last night. Just to kind of highlight that, I mean, well, we did well. We bet the Pacers and Denver. I mentioned the matchups to bet Denver if Fox get ruled out, regardless what the line is, and that was an easy one. So yeah, let's keep it. Been running pretty good with the bets. Charlotte against the Bucks, maybe not, but been feeling pretty good. Usually the last month of the season is a good time to get spread bets in.
For sure, yeah. Even won that Pacers bet despite all the Pelicans players being ruled in on the back-to-back and 5-game and 7 nights. So ran pretty pure there, and yeah, we get a redemption spot here with the Charlotte and Milwaukee. If you want it, Charlotte is at home. They are 12-point underdogs. We can start there. Actually, first game of the night, Milwaukee at Charlotte. As I mentioned, 12-point spread here in favor of the Bucks. Milwaukee will be without Chris Middleton, and then Ty Washington and Ryan Rollins are also out with G League tags. Andre Jackson is questionable here with an illness, and then Marjon Beauchamp and Giannis Antetokounmpo are probable. It is a front end of a back-to-back for both teams here, so potentially a potential rest spot for Giannis if they do choose to go that route. The Bucks will travel to play in Chicago tomorrow. So any insight here on the Bucks side with the probable tags?
Yeah, national TV game tomorrow too. So, and it's Charlotte. This is kind of a rest spot here, but Giannis has had the probable tag for like 10 games or something, and he's played through all of them. So, expecting him in. Maybe we get a downgrade, but yeah, they should be good to go here. Not too much to add. Dave's playing a lot better. Connaughton's kind of out of his slump. Other than that, there's not too much to add on this front. But yeah, keep an eye on that probable tag.
Cool, yeah, and first game of the night here, so we should know before the DFS slate locks as well, which is always a nice little buffer. On the Hornets side, LaMelo Ball and Mark Williams remain out, and then they have a few G Leaguers out as well. Pretty much the only thing to note here is that Alexei Pokachevsky is now on the Hornets, and he could potentially make his debut tonight. Do you think that will happen tonight, or any other insight on Poku and this new Charlotte Hornets rotation?
I
can hear you.
I kind of froze for okay, cool. I kind of froze for a second. I had major tech issues on the podcast, just as a side note.
Oh shoot.
Yeah, we're good. Yeah, Poco. I think he could play. We know Coach Steve Clifford has popped. He'll when he gets his guys, he plays them. He's been going through practices. Social team has put out some videos of Poku out there, so I think he could play. We only got him for 2 minutes, but we might get that. Cliff's pretty open. He'll be like, "Hey, we're gonna play him." So we would probably pump him in there, basically in Bertans' spot. Maybe that he cuts into the bigs. I'm not sure how they're going to want to use him. He's been used all over. We saw him play point, play 2, play 3, play 4, play 5. So very unclear. We got him slotted into center minutes for now. But yeah, keep an eye on it. Yeah, you're obviously not playing him in DFS, but garbage time too maybe will be fun.
So do you think if he gets in there, he's most likely to just supplant Bertans, or do you think they would go towards like a full 10-man?
I think there could be a little. I'm not sure. It could be both. They've run pretty tight. The first game they had those guys, they ran at 8, and then they brought Bertans in mid-second. Maybe it's something like that where they'd run 9, and then bring Poku in like mid-second to get him in there. But yeah, all just guessing. And I'm expecting Clifford to give us something. Shout out to Sam Purley. He works for the Hornets, and he's usually pretty good. Rod Boone also. They're usually pretty good at giving out Clifford pressured info, which I'm sure Underdog will be all over too. So, but yeah, keep an eye out for that.
Cool. Sounds good. All right. Second game of the slate is the Utah Jazz at Orlando Magic. The Jazz here have Walker Kessler questionable with a right foot sprain. He did play 25 and a half minutes last game, including the last 17 of the game. So a little interesting to see him pop up here, Q, with a foot sprain. Any insight on Walker Kessler and his availability tonight?
Yeah, couldn't find anything. The only things I was finding looking for Kessler stuff was about his AP Physics and AP Calculus that Andy Larson was noting for a homecoming game for him in Atlanta. But yeah, not much to add. Obviously, if he doesn't play, that would add way more minutes to John Collins. Maybe we see some small ball stuff. We'll probably get Omer Yurtseven in the mix as well. And that would, yeah, again, they would probably just play like a little bit smaller, which is tough, though. I think they'd have to play Yurt because Orlando is number 2 in paint points. So you don't want to play small against them.
Sounds good. On the Magic side, we have Paolo Banchero, questionable again here with an illness. He has missed the last 2 games with this illness. And Jonathan Isaac is out with an illness as well. And I thought it was interesting. These are not noted as non-COVID illnesses. So I'm thinking potentially they have COVID here for Paolo to miss a couple games, and Isaac also out again tonight. But Paolo went through shoot around this morning, so I would expect him to play. Do you feel the same? And any other insight here on the Magic rotation with Paolo potentially back?
Yeah, not great if he had COVID because he played in the Pistons game. He was sick, so maybe he got Isaac sick. I'm not sure, but yeah, he's had this illness for like a week now. And I mentioned that I wanted to take it over him on the Detroit game because I thought he was better. He was not, and he is still not. But it sounds like he's back. If he's not, Caleb Houston was pretty effective, hit 3 threes for them, played a bunch of minutes, so he'd be starting. But expecting Paolo to make his return here. But yeah, no overs for Paolo. He's been sick for over a week, so the matchup's pretty good, but he'll get Taylor Hendricks guarding him, a rookie. So don't resist the temptation of betting Powell. I expect him to be not 100% from this illness.
Sounds good. And then with Caleb Houston, you mentioned he drew the start last game, but would probably be completely out of the rotation tonight if Paolo returns. So just something to note there. He's similar to kind of the Nikola Jovic that we see for Miami. If he doesn't start, he's likely out of the rotation. So interesting little kind of maneuvering there for the Magic. Okay, let's move along.
Should also note one thing on Markelle Fultz. Basically, Jamal Mosley said he's going to keep him off the bench. They're going to try to ramp him up. So probably expecting 1 or 2 more bench spots for Markelle Fultz. But the minutes are normal. He's been playing a little bit better lately.
Sounds good. Let's move along to the Atlanta Hawks at Brooklyn Nets. This game is close to a pick'em, which I thought was interesting after Atlanta just blew out the Nets. The Nets are really struggling of late. But on the Hawks side, Trae Young and Onyeka Okongwu remain out. There are several G Leaguers out, and then Patty Mills was just bought out by the Hawks as well, so he will not be available for them. Trent Forrest is listed questionable with the G League tag. I think you have some news on him. So how about you talk about Trent Forrest and if he'll potentially get in the rotation tonight without Trae and Okongwu?
Yeah, we saw Trent Forrest hit his max on his 2-way days earlier this month, and they converted him. So that I was waiting for that news to happen. Cost Patty Mills a spot. So we have him for like a minute because Kobe Buffkin is in the rotation. Quinn Snyder said that he said, quote, he's in the rotation. So pretty straightforward. He's going to be in there. We've got him picking up all the non-DeJountes and a couple other ones. He's been playing pretty well. His defense has been pretty solid despite a lack of size. And then the other noteworthy thing here was the small ball stuff. I think that's going to be more prevalent. There was comments from Snyder saying that Jalen Johnson needs more space. Certainly Bruno Fernando and Clint Capella don't do that. Jalen just absolutely cooking here, man. 2 more games for him for best ball streets for me. And I have some DeJounte. I need some big DeJounte. Just a pretty good spot for him here. I don't think Mikal can slow him down.
Nice. Well, I hope they come through for you there. On the Nets side, to potentially get this game to play a little smaller, as if Ben Simmons will be available, that would help potentially, lean the Nets a little bit smaller. He is listed questionable with left leg soreness. Cam Thomas remains out with a right ankle sprain, and then a few G League out tags here as well. Any news and notes on Ben Simmons and his potential availability for tonight?
Yeah, not great for the downgrade. I don't know, just sit out for the season at this point. So I think he's off the bench the rest of the year. We'll see. Maybe I'm wrong on that, but they just can't play him heavy minutes. So expecting Schroeder to start regardless. Mikal, Cam, Dorian, and Clax, and then a decent bit of Lonnie off the bench, Dennis Smith Jr., all those guys. So yeah, I think he's going to sit, but could be wrong. If he doesn't play, that would probably take out Jalen Wilson, cut out a little bit of Lonnie Walker, then Trendon Watford's minutes will get cut.
Sounds good. And I mentioned it's been a struggle for the Nets of late. In their last 4 losses, they've scored 81, 86, 93, and 86 points. So in the era of offensive explosion, the Nets are struggling mightily to put the ball in the hoop. And with Cam Thomas out, maybe struggling again tonight, even against this Hawks defense that's been pretty suspect all season. Okay, let's head to one of the marquee games of the night, and that is the Warriors at Knicks. Steph Curry in the Garden. It is a front end of the back-to-back for the Warriors. They'll be traveling to Toronto tomorrow. On the Warriors injury report, Andrew Wiggins is out for personal reasons. Guy Santos out with right knee inflammation. We saw Chris Paul return last game and play 22 minutes. And then Moses Moody started for Andrew Wiggins. So any insight here if Moses Moody is pretty locked into the starting rotation, or are you expecting any curveballs from Kerr tonight?
Nah, I think Moody's in there, played pretty well. They like Clay, and it sounds like Kerr wants to develop the chemistry between CP3 and Clay off the bench, so expecting those two guys to anchor the second unit. Clay's been playing pretty well off the bench, and they're not even running offense. According to Kerr, they're just kind of letting Chris Paul figure it out in the second unit, which has been a pretty good play design for the point guard. So yeah, mostly running it back here. We'll see if they get more minutes after had a little bit of blowout. Shout out to Lester Quijones playing 1 minute of blowout to hit some unders that were somewhat surprisingly lined. Because we saw a quote that Kerr had mentioned that Chris Paul was getting Lester Quijones' minutes, and so we took like almost all his minutes away, and they lined him on DraftKings. The psychotics at DraftKings, we love it. We love those crazy lines.
For sure. You mentioned reminiscing to the good old days of when we would get all these scrub unders on Caesars and DK and FanDuel potentially. And now DK is pretty much the only one sticking their necks out for there. But we are grateful, especially when we take the unders and they get in for the final minute. That is nice. Unfortunately, on the Knicks side, we had a rough beat in garbage time the other night with Jericho Sims. Scored 5 points in the final 2 minutes and 39 seconds after scoring 2 points in the first 27 minutes of his playing time. So that was a tough beat. But anyway, on the Knicks side, Jalen Brunson is questionable with that neck injury that caused him to miss last game. And then OG Anunoby, Mitch Robinson, and Julius Randle all remain out. We saw Tibbs go to a 7-man rotation last game, basically until blowout. So we would expect them to play tight again tonight if Brunson is out. Any insight on this neck injury that apparently was caused by a sleeping on it wrong, or any insight here on Brunson?
Yeah, slept on it wrong. No real insight. Got ruled out a little earlier than we thought. So yeah, we'll see. It's not back-to-back related apparently from the last game. So don't have a lot of insight. We should get this info probably pretty soon. Maybe it's game time, but very unclear. What is clear, if he doesn't play, Deuce McBride, all the minutes. He'll play a ton if it's pretty straightforward. They are getting Isaiah Hartenstein back. He'll be back in the starting lineup. His minutes were ramping up, so he may have a shot at like 30s today. That was kind of the path, let him play 3, 4, 5 games and then kind of get him full. So we're not at the 44 minutes yet, but I think he's got a shot at close to full with the way they've been ramping him up there. And then, the Jericho Sims beat. We saw him play full first and then barely played in the second quarter. A lot of the third, didn't play until garbage time. Just tough. One of the tougher L's of the year for sure.
Definitely. Yeah, thanks for bringing up Hartenstein. I had skipped over that he's available tonight. So, he'll make his return. Okay, let's head to the next game on the slate, which is the Oklahoma City Thunder at San Antonio Spurs. Pretty clean injury reports here on both sides, other than a bunch of G League tags listed out. The Thunder are 11-point favorites here on the road. Any news or notes on the Thunder as they continue to incorporate Gordon Hayward into the rotation?
Nope, they're good to go. Chet's been crushing, and their second half defense has been insane since the break. So, if OKC, the only thing I got to say is if OKC somehow starts slow, take them. Their second half defense has been really, really good. So that's kind of been something I've been eyeing. And they look awesome, man. I think they're going to make a run. Mark Dagnall looking pretty good to beat out Chris Finch for Coach of the Year.
Yeah, I was a little surprised to see the spread only at 11 because OKC at home was about 10-point favorites against the Rockets. So I know they're on the road tonight, but only a 1-point difference in the spread between the Spurs and Rockets. Caught my eye a little bit. Just thought that was somewhat interesting, especially as an island game for the Thunder. On the Spurs side, again, no real injury notes here. Dominic Barlow is listed out with that G League tag. Anything on the Spurs you want to hit on?
No, just like I said, they're bad at 3-point shooting, and I usually like to take OKC against bad 3-point shooting teams. So I'm debating if I take it now or if I try to get a better line. I think OKC kind of smashes today.
Cool. Yeah, we might have to run it back with that one after the nice cover against Houston. All right, and Houston is involved in our next game. They are traveling to Phoenix to take on the Suns. This is one of those kind of 2 games and 3 night series in Phoenix. So they'll play again on Saturday here. On the Rockets side, Tari Eason remains the notable out tag here, along with Steven Adams, Nate Hinton, and Jermaine Samuels. And then Jalen Green was a mid-tag Q tag add with an illness. So, typically those aren't great. We also don't really have insight on the illness, but if Jalen Green were to miss, who do you expect to start for the Rockets, and how would that impact the rotation?
That would be one or two players. It would either be Amen Thompson or they could start Cam Whitmore in that spot. I think it would be Amen. I think they would want a little bit more wing defense for the matchup, so I would lean that way here. Houston beat the Suns over the weekend, so they played pretty well there. Phoenix played terrible. We'll get to them in a second, but pretty straightforward. Jalen Green kind of coming back to life. He looked like he was in trouble here. We talked about him losing his starting job, but it looks like they're going to hold that. But man, Udoka was pretty pissed for the way they played. They got, quote, bullied, and he said Chet shouldn't have pushed him around the way he did, much to our chagrin with the way he was grabbing rebounds. Tough scene for us on the under. But, tough spot for them, man. Also tempted to take Phoenix, but not tough to bet Phoenix, man. Their fourth quarters are so bad. I'll save it for the next team.
Sounds good. Yeah. Phoenix and a few questionable tags too to deal with here. Bradley Beal remains questionable with the hamstring injury that's caused him to miss a decent amount of time at this point. Eric Gordon is questionable with groin soreness, who's typically would start in Beal's spot, but missed last game when we saw Royce O'Neal start. And then Yusuf Nurkic is probable here with an ankle sprain. So any insight on Beal or Gordon? And then if both are out, it kind of seems like Royce is locked into that starting lineup.
Yeah, the Suns have been out since Sunday, so they've had a few days off. They've had practice. They had a non-contact practice yesterday, which Beal and Gordon and Nurk all went through. We've seen Beal go through on-court pregame like for I think 2 games straight. He's been doing it for a while. But Kevin Durant kind of like backed him. He's like, yeah, when you play with a hamstring, you just don't feel right sometimes. So they want to get him right. As I mentioned, he's had hamstring injuries for like 3 years. So they're being patient here, but it seems like he could be back. I think Gordon's very likely back. And then Nurk still has some soreness in his ankle. Did play awesome over the weekend, but keep an eye on him. He should be good to go. They got they're Saturday, Sunday back-to-back. So yeah, they have 3 games left for you Suns best ball players. I have some Booker best ball stuff, looking for a big Booker finish to hopefully get me through. And actually, one more thing to note. They worked on their fourth quarter offense, according to Frank Vogel. They're dead last in fourth quarter point differential. It's been a huge problem for them. So we'll see if they can get it going. Like I mentioned, it's tough to bet the Suns because they just don't close games out very well.
Yeah, that's wild. I mean, currently 5th in the West and worst fourth quarter point differential. That's wild. If they can fix that, obviously a lot of their problems would go away, it seems, as they have tough time holding on to leads. Okay, let's head over to Denver, where they will host a rematch of last year's NBA Finals, bringing the Miami Heat into town as a back end of the back-to-back for Denver, as they took care of business against the Kings last night. On the Heat side, lots of out tags here to deal with. Tyler Hero, Kevin Love, Josh Richardson, Jamal Cain, Drew Smith, Cole Swider, and Thomas Bryant are all out. Bryant is suspended, but reportedly will receive his championship ring tonight. The league is making an exception for him, so that's cool that they did that. And then Orlando Robinson is available here for some potential spot minutes behind Bam Adebayo. Lots to talk about here with the Heat, so I'll just let you take it away and kind of go any direction you want to.
Yeah, they're the NBA being nice. Kind of, he had like a courtroom hearing. Like, let him. I'm joking about that. To like let him loose. Anybody who's watched Sopranos, if you remember Johnny Sack having to go to court to go see his daughter get married, kind of reminded me of that. Shout out Sopranos, arguably the best show ever. But I digress. So yeah, no Hero. Expecting the same starting lineup of Rozier, Jimmy, Duncan, Jovic, who probably is starting. I think they're going to need the size and the Nikola Jovic matchup that we've all been waiting for. And then the other note here is Terry Rozier. There is some commentary from Eric Spoelstra to get his pull-up shooting up. That hasn't been a big factor, but he was awesome. If you remember, when he was with the Hornets, he was like first or second in a lot of like pull-up stats, and he hasn't really been that effective, largely because of injury. Spoelstra also cited that he, quote, fast-tracked his recovery, was doing 3-a-days workouts over the break. So pretty impressive for Rozier to come back this fast. And then Bam's been great. Dink and I just did a podcast talking about Miami and Bam's offensive impact. Jimmy was also working out while he was away. We saw that he looks 100%. Miami kind of coming. If you don't steal me, video team for the phrasing there. But if you remember, we were talking. I think I did it with you. We were like talking about how hard Miami's schedule looks. Right? We were like, oh no. They just lost J. Rich. They just lost Rozier. Jimmy's out for indefinite amount of time. And I just want to point it out real quick. So that happened on the 11th, right? When it was like, oh no, what are they gonna do? They just win everything. So yeah, just huge shout to Miami. Tough spot here. Denver on a back-to-back, but Denver, light minutes last night. Easy win. Shout out to the Nuggets.
Yeah, Miami has weathered the injury storm pretty well, winning 5 in a row, 8 of their last 10. So, we were kind of always waiting for the Heat to get it right and start putting on that finals performance that we saw from last year. And they seem to have found their groove a little bit as they manage these injuries. Just kind of going back to the starting lineup. If Jovic does start, he's pretty locked in there. But if he doesn't, he might not even play, as we kind of alluded to earlier. And then Caleb Martin and Jaime Jaquez, if they come off the bench, they'll play close to starters minutes regardless of if Jovic starts or not. So
feel pretty good. They need the size. Denver's just huge, so I'd be pretty surprised if they didn't start Jovic.
Cool. And then on the Nuggets side, they have not submitted an injury report yet, but Jamal Murray has been, came out that he is uncertain to play tonight, and he's been battling lower leg issues. I was listening to Brian Windhorst pod, and they mentioned he's likely dealing with shin splints. That is only alleviated by time off and limiting the workload. So any insight here on Murray's potential availability tonight on the back end of a back-to-back?
Yes. Last question Mike Malone got in the presser was, is Jamal playing today? And he said, I don't know. And that's all he said. So yeah, other than what you noted, I think he's sitting. Maybe he plays, probably getting a Q tag here. I think they kind of want this game. They're, they're coming in pretty strong here. I just got to stop saying the word coming here. The video team thing was so good. So I think he sits. If he's out, it'll be Reggie Jackson, obviously. Joker, massive handling role. We've seen his potential assists really jump up a lot lately. Pretty straightforward there. But light minutes last night for most of the guys. Great game from Aaron Gordon last night. Commentary from Mike Malone saying that he's embraced being in the dunker spot. A lot of guys think it's like a bad thing to be down there because you can't shoot, but he's been just fantastic. Expecting them to. And I'm not allowed to bet against Miami, but pretty good spot for Denver in altitude.
Yeah, we saw the Nuggets turn it on post All-Star break last year, and they've started to do the same this year, winning 4 straight every game since the break. So yeah, they're turning it on at the right time and making a push for the top 2 seeds in the West as they remain in a tight kind of lockstep with those top 4 teams in the West. Okay, let's head to the last game on the slate, which features another back end of the back-to-back for the Lakers. They will host the Washington Wizards, losers of 12 straight. The Wizards, it is the front end for them, but they will stay in LA and play the Clippers tomorrow. So, back to back for both teams here tonight. On the Wizards side, Bilal Coulibaly is out along with Isaiah Livers and Patrick Baldwin Jr. And then Denny Avdia is questionable with a left heel contusion. Avdia has missed the last 3 games for the Wizards. So potential return tonight. Any insight on Avdia and what you're expecting from the Wizards rotation tonight?
Yeah, don't have much of the Avdia. It's been out for like a week, as you mentioned, so could be back today. Heel contusion, it's a pretty long absence, but he was playing hot, and just kind of we'll see if he could pick up where he left off before the injury. So still no Bilal Coulibaly, so that should get Landry Shamet in the starting spot regardless. Corey Kispert would start again if Denny can't play, and other than that, Poole's off the bench. Didn't have it last game, but the role's starting to grow. His touch time's starting to come up. The usage rate's been pretty good. And yeah, the minutes are still there. So this is, kind of helping him. Obviously, he's looking like quite a bad deal to pick up, but at least he's shooting now. At least he's, looking like the not bad Jordan Poole. At least he's being like a version of himself, not the, empty version.
For sure. And we continue to see with Brian Keefe as the head coach here, heavy starters for the minutes, and then Jordan Poole, 29 off the bench. So he continues to run things tighter, which is nice, at least for DFS, get some upside here on the Wizards, despite how often they've been losing of late. On the Lakers side, they have also not submitted an injury report, but we typically know the deal here with the Lakers. LeBron is likely to be questionable or out with this ankle tendinopathy. He did play 37 minutes last night, including the entire fourth quarter, to help secure that massive comeback win. Played amazing down the stretch. Anthony Davis has been listed probable of late, but back to back, he could potentially miss with the Wizards. And then the Lakers, they did get some added depth back here with Cam Reddish returning as well. So they do potentially have the bodies. Are you only concerned about LeBron and AD tonight, or do you think Cam Reddish could potentially miss as he works his way back from injury. What are your thoughts here on the Lakers?
Definitely could see Cam Reddish, who played some pretty important minutes late as well. But yeah, LeBron, we got to talk about LeBron. 14 in the fourth, 5 3-pointers, crazy comeback, fourth largest fourth quarter comeback in Lakers history. Yeah, last game at crypto for the two LA teams before they head out of there. So yeah, just a really signature win from LeBron. 40 points away from 40K. Don't know if he can get there yet. I think he sits, man. Like, it's the Wizards. Great job last night. Go hang out with your fam, and then enjoy the game. Hopefully, watch your team get a win. So that would put Taurean Prince probably in the starting lineup. And then if Cam Reddish can't go, we'll probably get Max Christie if anyone misses. But if Reddish did miss, that would kind of help Spencer Dinwiddie's minutes, and then get Max Christie in the mix again.
Cool. Sounds good. Yeah. We've seen LeBron kind of own the Wizards over his career. I always remember his fadeaway falling bank shot 3 to beat the Wizards. One of the great shots on LeBron's career. As growing up in Ohio, obviously love LeBron. So just unbelievable to see him continue to play at this level and put the team on his back. I love it. Love LeBron. Yeah, so
that's so good.
Yeah. Closing on 40K points. That's just unbelievable. And yeah, fun to see him again, just continue to play so well. Okay. All right.
Yeah, he can do it. So one thing to note, they played Denver on national TV on Saturday. So, maybe he wants to play today because 40, it's tough to get 40 in a night unless you're Luka. So maybe he goes out there and plays today. I don't know. But I think it'd be smart to sit him out. They need wins, though. I don't think they take the Wizards. Wizards are playing bad. They're not laughably bad anymore. So I think that there's a chance that he plays. I wouldn't rule him out, but again, it's kind of moot, but always a chance.
Sounds good. All right. Any other closing thoughts before we get out of here?
No, I don't think so. I think we're pretty good. Should be a fun little 8-gamer. Be me and Dink on the DFS show. Yeah, not too many back-to-backs today. Not too many injuries. So it should be, the grand finale before we go no late swap for the DK gang. So it should be a fun night.
Nice. Yeah. And then Mike and Drew did record a podcast this morning that should be out everywhere you get your podcast this afternoon or later tonight. So hopefully, give that a listen potentially tonight before the slate or first thing tomorrow morning. But that will do it for this edition of the Established to Run NBA Injury Analysis Show. As always, we ask for your support in promoting this free content by liking this video and subscribing to our YouTube channel. Our goal is to hit 5,000 subscribers by the end of the season, and we are just shy of 300 short of reaching that goal. So please, if you're out there and not yet subscribed, it takes 2 seconds. Just go ahead and click that subscribe button. It really does mean a lot to us at ETR to have your support. Feeding the algo helps feed our families and allows us to provide this type of insight for free on a daily basis. If you have interest in getting access to behind the paywall content, as Mike mentioned, he will be on the DFS show tonight with Drew. And then we have plenty of other great stuff from Mike's matchups column Monday, Wednesday through Friday, top plays, leverage article from Gary, which will be the last week that he writes that for the season. And then our player props package as well, which combines the injury analysis you see here every day, along with the great work done by our minutes team and data science team. There are a ton of people that go into making this product as successful as possible and the best in the business. So shout out to everyone there. Tomorrow you will be greeted with a Fan Friday with Drew, Mike, hopefully, and Justin Fan. Yeah, hopefully. I always like to speak it into the universe and make sure it happens. So hopefully Fan is here. Always enjoy that show. But that will do it for today. Have a great day, everyone, and we will be back tomorrow with another edition of the Established Run NBA Injury Analysis Show. Talk to you later.